it is not, yeah. So it's not only about the child, the adolescent child or the child himself, it is about the parents also. So the parents being able to understand the child and the child being able to understand the parent. So this event is just to bridge this gap. So here is like a what do you call it? Something that happens, like a preamble to what is going to happen next week. So we want to hear everything that our children have to say. Well, most of the things that our children have to say to us. Then next week at the event proper, we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning how to take care of what it is that they've raised and how to go about what it is that they've raised. Because there is a how, and only learning can help us take care of these things. So we are welcome once again. We're going to be introducing ourselves. That's the panelists. I'm honored to have 4 wonderful people. So 2 people are representing the parents and 2 other people are representing the children. If you have questions as we go along, please just type it in the chat room and we will try to answer the questions that come up. So what this is going to be doing is that the parents on the panel are representing the parents. So the parents on the panel are representing the parents, while the children on the panel are representing the children. So if your child is, I'm hoping that we are attending with our children too. So please let your child be seated also, if you don't want them to log on their own device. But if you are there, just put it on speaker and let everybody just consume alongside. So, but for every parent, we are advised, please and please put aside your parenting cloak and let's listen to our children tell us. So it's just going to be like a Q&A. They ask us, why do we do certain things? And we're going to be responding. The only rule of today is be respectful as possible. Okay, so that's our only rule for this event. So we're going to be starting off by introducing ourselves, then we'll dive into today. So we're going to start with, we'll take Mrs. Osho. She'll introduce herself. Then after Mrs. Osho is done, we're going to have Damilola, if he's in. Damilola will introduce himself. And then when we're done with Dami, we're going to have Susan. And when we're done with Susan, we will have Mr. Otuke. And when we're done with Mr. Otuke, we will have, who else? Who is left? Me. And then we will proceed. So please, let's go on. So I yield the mic to Mrs. Osho, please. Kindly introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mrs. Bolanle Osho. I run a travel agency, Adonai Travels and Tours, and I have 4 children. I'm passionate about teenagers. I've been in the teens department of my church for like 11 years. So I know so much about the teenagers. I welcome you all, and I hope that at the end of today's session, you all take back home something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Dami, is Dami here? Dami, are you here?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Damilola Adaju. I'm representing the adolescence category. I'm 24 years of age. I work at a renewable energy firm, and I hope we all have a lovely session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Wow. Then let's have Susan. Susan, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
my name is Susanna Gunaya. I'm 17 years old. I'm currently studying law at Saverian College, and I pray that God just gives us understanding to understand each other.
Thank you. See your soft voice. Then we have Mr. Otuke, the oxygenator himself. Let's hear you, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I hope we're all doing fine today. So, the natural me, I am the oxygenator. My name is Otuke Oyeri. I oxygenate minds and completely transform lives. I'm a coach, a therapist with several countless certifications. For this meeting, I am a parent, the father of 4, and I have, since I woke up, hanged my parenting cloak somewhere. And I'm going to be as natural as possible, as objective as possible, and as open-minded as possible so that we can achieve the desired results for today. Thank you so much and welcome everybody.
Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I appreciate you. My name is Nwaduto. My name is Nwaduto Akwiti. I know some people are wondering, Akwiti, yes, it's me. I am the one. My name is Nwaduto Akwiti, and I'm an integrative practitioner, meaning I'm a life coach and I'm a therapist. So I help bridge the gap between parents and their adolescents by building an environment where both parties gain clarity and are empowered so that they can feel understood, in control, and fulfilled to accomplish their goals as parents and as adolescents to thrive on their way to self-discovery. And this I do by one-on-one coaching or by events like this. So this is one of the things that I do, major things that I do. Hopefully this should be done yearly, hopefully. So last year we had our first outing, even though I have conducted this in some schools and in churches, majorly my church and in another church I had to do that for. But then this is us taking it out there. We started last year, it was a lovely outing. And we had several testimonies to speak for that. You know, many relationships were mended, many lives were turned around, and I am grateful for every one of you for being here because you are helping me to fulfill purpose. This is what I have been called to do, and I am glad that you are here attending and helping me to fulfill my purpose. So we're going to be going straight into the matter. We're going to be listening to the children basically more. Then the parents also have some things to inquire of the children. In between, there might be a little flips and a little flaps, trying to redirect questions as to why it is that they behave the way that they behave. But irrespective of that, basically at the end of today, we should be living here with a lot of understanding. So we're going to be going first. Susan. So you're going to be asking the parents question. My role here is I'm just on the side. I will chip in when I need to chip in. So that's just all I'm doing, just to ensure that everything goes the way it's supposed to go. So over to you, Susan. You're going to be asking your first question and you direct it to whichever parent it is that you choose to answer your question. And your parents here for today are Mrs. Bolanle Osho and Mr. Otuke Uyeri. So please, your first question. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. I actually have a number of questions written down here, so I just ask it, and it's directed to both of them because I need to see both perspectives. So the question is, the forever famous issue of comparison tops the chart. Why do parents constantly compare their teenagers to other people's children? Each child is unique. Moreover, it is detrimental to the overall well-being of a teenager. So please could you answer that question? I'll start with Mr. Otuke.
How did I just know you were going to point to me first? Okay. So by training, I agree to the fact that it is not very, very good to compare. It's not just about parents comparing their children to other people's children, right? Anything that you want to start comparing in life, you put some disadvantages to the fore, such that something must always have an advantage over something. And an advantage in one end could be a disadvantage in another end, while the so-called advantage on the other end would be a disadvantage at this other end. But one thing that you should also realize is that at every point in time, as parents, we are operating to the best of our ability. Who we are today as parents is a sum total of all where we've been, the people we've related with, the environments that we were brought up in, right? So we can only give what we have. thank God for rooms and things like what one is doing now, right? To open our eyes to see that some of these things are not really the best for us, right? But basically, no father or mother will wake up and intentionally want to cause harm to the child. No father or mother will intentionally wake up and want to put you in an awkward position. In our mind, comparing you to somebody else is a way of motivating you to get you to wake up and try and copy what that person is doing to get the result that that person is getting. So our intent and the purpose of doing what we are doing is not to get you to be anxious or feel less of yourself, but to bring out the best in you. And we are picking that style because that's all we know so far. But we keep learning and improving on a daily basis. And I can assure you that with people like Coach Juan that will be teaching us from time to time, we will become better. But have it at the back of your mind that our intent was never to put you in an awkward position or to shame you or to call you out. No, our intent was to draw your attention to the fact that we see something in that other child that we would have wanted to see in you. Can you look at that child and understand what they are doing, how they are doing it, and take the notes from there and try to do what they do so that you can get similar results? Because from our mind, we believe that the results that that child is achieving are way better than your results. Do I communicate, Susan?
Yes, I see your points. Thank you. Can I have a Mommy Asho, please?
Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Ma.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank
Just
you.
like Mr. Otuke have said, no parent will want to have a child that has no future. Of course, every day you see children around you, you see children that are doing better than yours. There's the tendency, the natural tendency to just say, oh, Ayo, can't you see your friend is doing well in his studies? It's just to motivate you. It's not to bring down the child. And it's like a wake-up call. When you see your friend doing something good, you will often want to emulate that friend of yours. So no parent will want to put down a child knowingly that, oh, you are nobody, your friend is doing better than you. It's just to motivate you. It's not to bring you down. It is not to deflate your ego. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So, but parenting now, we all have to be educated in parenting. We don't know it all. So that is why we have people like life coaches now that are coaching parents. Parents also need to be educated, because you just give birth to a child. It's not as if you went to a university. There's no university to train a child. So parents are all trying. We are all trying in the best way that we know. So the best way might not be the best, but we keep trying every day. So it is just for a child to achieve purpose in life, not because we want to put down the child. A child that I'm spending money on, I expect a good result from that child. So do you understand what I'm saying now?
Yes, Ma, thank you for your answer.
All
Okay,
right.
let me interject there. So parents, this actually comes up every time. This comes up a lot, the issue of comparison. So I would love to say here, like the parents have both said, really, if we know better, we'll do better. And most times we are just doing it to motivate the child, but they are not interpreting it as that. What they hear is, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough. You prefer that I am sculptured in another way. So you want me to become like somebody else. So I'm not good enough for you. But something, I think we should focus more on what we want, or just like we're motivating you to be better, right? So let's focus on the being better and not necessarily say, be like this other person. Do you understand that? As in, let's rather say, can we work on you being more empathetic, or can we work on you being more obedient? Can we work on you being more hardworking? You know, things like that. Instead of saying, be like Benga. By the time we say that, we all don't know what Benga does. The children know what Benga is doing. So you want them to be like Benga, right? Do you know what Benga is doing? They know what Benga is doing. So you don't want them to do what Benga is doing. So since we do not know Benga's life, really, we do not know another person's life. Even your children that are there seated with you, you don't know what they do. You really don't know what they do. So it's better instead of to say, be like this person, let's focus on the quality, the values, the things that we'll prefer that they begin to exhibit instead of pointing at somebody else. So thank you very much for that, Susan. And I hope that, are we okay, the children, are we okay with those representing the adolescents? Are we okay with the responses?
Can I put in a point?
Let's hear you, ma'am.
Yes, parents, our words can speak hope and life. We should avoid comparison statement. Instead, we should steer confidence in our children with affirming words. Words that will swell up their head. Instead of comparing them with people, when you compare, even as an adult, if someone should compare me with someone, I will not be happy. So let our words, let it speak hope and life. Let it defeat hopelessness. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
I agree completely with Mrs. Bolanle Osho, right? So that's just the way forward, because no matter how you look at it, a child is also a human being.
Yes.
Would you want to be compared? Would you want to be spoken to in a way that makes it look like you are not good enough? Do unto others as you want them to do unto you, right?
Yeah.
Rather than drag the issue and go negative, there is always a positive way to go about it. You will still get the same results, but they call it diplomatic chastising. You are actually hitting the person hard, but you are so diplomatic that the person will be feeling good about what you are telling the person. And that's what you want to achieve, right? Get the results. You don't need to talk the person down. You don't need to start comparing and poking the person, like making the person feel like you're not good enough. No, be on the positive side. Parents need to learn emotional intelligence, the power of good communication. Because if you actually open up the floor for open communication, at the point when you are talking to that child and the child is feeling awkward, the child will point you, hey, dad, what you are saying is making me feel like this. You're already getting feedback, and you quickly adjust because that's not your intent. So if that's not your intent, then focus on your intent and do the job neatly, upgrading the child, motivating the child, making the child feel stronger, and creating a powerful self-esteem, self-confidence. Thank you. I yield the mic at this point.
Thank you so much for that. I love those contributions. Really, and there's a way to communicate. We're going to be listening to the communication goddess next week. Give us that. Madam Adesua herself, Adesua Onyinukwe, will be taking communication and how to communicate. There's a way to do it. So she will be handling that next week. So you don't want to miss it. Do register for that event. Dami, are you there? Let's hear your question, please.
Yes, I'm here. Okay. My question.
If this is your laughter.
We're safe. Don't worry, we're safe.
Okay.
So, my question I also address to both parents in the house, as Mrs. Osho and Mr. Otuke. So, why is it that sometimes parents find it difficult to apologize? Even, okay, like everybody's not perfect, yes, but then there are some times that even as being the elderly person, that they are wrong. And even as they have known that they are wrong, but they'll find it hard to apologize because that's a frequent thing. I believe I'm not speaking alone in that matter. So yes, that's my question.
I can see Susan nodding her head and smiling. Susan saying, yes, yes, ask them this question. Back to you, parents.
Oh my God. Well, let me answer. Parents are afraid to say, I am sorry. It makes them weak or take away. They look weak. When instead of saying sorry, well, it's like, I'm your father, I'm your mother. I can do anything and I don't have to say sorry. So it makes parents look weak. In our mind, you know that what you have done is wrong. But to apologize is difficult. But on the contrary, when a parent shows that, when the parent can say, oh, Susan, I'm sorry. We are actually teaching Susan how to be a responsible person in future, how to say sorry, how to take responsibility in future. It's actually a learning process as well. When you can say sorry, you are also teaching your child that when you do something bad, you say sorry. Although the negative action might be there that, oh, yeah, my mommy is saying sorry, but at the same time, the positive action outweighs the negative action. Because you're also teaching the child, oh, Susan, I'm sorry for what I've done. And Susan will definitely emulate that kind of behavior as well. So children, parents not saying sorry it's actually making them look weak. It's basically nothing more than that. That's the way I feel. Mr. Otuke, over to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Osho. So what I'm going to do is to build on what you have said, right? I had mentioned on this call that who we are today is a sum total of all what has happened in our life, the environment, the people that nurtured us, right? So how we were brought up and everything. There's something that they call conditioning of the mind. There's something that they call nurture. As Mrs. Osho had said, we had not seen our parents say sorry. So over the years of watching our parents, our grandparents, and those of us that were fortunate to see our great-grandparents never apologized to our grandparents. Our grandparents never apologized to our parents. Our parents never apologized to us. We've now formed that mindset based on the experiences over the years to say that a parent doesn't say sorry. Saying sorry makes you look weak, right? So it's a thing about nurturing. Now, what Mrs. Ocho has said is that if we do not break it at this point, we are passing it on to you again that are children today. And tomorrow when you become parents, you will still go on with that mindset of parents don't say sorry. But in reality, we need to be connected to our children. We need to have strong emotional connections with our children. And for that to happen, you need to see the child as a human being that you should be able to relate to. And remember that whatever you are doing today is a seed that you are sowing into the life of the child that will become the future of that child tomorrow. So if parents can go for these trainings and learn to know that whatever you are doing today is training ground for these children, and you know clearly that as adults to adults, if somebody wrongs you, it feels bad. You do not accept it that they will not tell you sorry. You always want them to say sorry. It also means that as you want to be treated, so you treat others. When you say sorry to a child, it's not necessarily meaning that you are weak, but you are actually setting a pace for the child to know that when somebody does something wrong, they should say sorry. So as parents, we need to start changing that mindset that we inherited from our parents and our grandparents, because the world is changing so fast. So many things have changed from our time as children and the time of the children of today. There are so many things that have exposed these children. There are so many technologies, so many activities. The world has moved. The earlier we wake up and learn the things that we need to learn today so that we can build the future child that we really desire, the better for us. You have to be connected to your child. And if you need to be connected to your child, you need to be able to relate with that child on the emotional level, because that's the only time that the child can see something, hear something, do something, and have the confidence to come and meet you, knowing that they can trust you and they can relate with you. And that's when you have the chance to actually make that change that you so desire in the life of the child. Because if you keep creating that barrier and making yourself not so accessible, they will seek what they desire from other sources, and you will not be sure of what they are planting inside your child. So to answer you, Dami, as of today, a lot of us parents don't want to say sorry because that's how we've always known it to be. But on this call now, we are saying that as parents, we need to realize that saying sorry doesn't make you weak. Saying sorry is actually sowing a seed of correction in the life of the child, such that the child will grow up and know that when you offend somebody, no matter who the person is, when you are wrong, you say sorry. Because a lot of times when these siblings are having their rivalry in the house, you will be telling this one, say sorry to your sister. And the thing that will be coming to the child's head is say, but Dad, you don't say sorry. Mom, you don't say sorry. Why should I say sorry? You will see the resistance, like, no, I know why I did what I did. That's not how it is. Well, I didn't know it was going to make her feel this way. The argument will continue. So just say sorry. And the child is wondering, why should I say sorry? You don't say sorry. I've not seen you say sorry. So why should I say sorry? Meanwhile, if you just say sorry naturally, even to your wife or to your husband, when they offend each other, it will be so easy to say sorry. The environment in the house affects the nurturing of the child. Let us take note. Susan, Damilola, hope you are okay with our answers. I yield the mic at this point.
Okay, please, parents, this one is a very serious one. No more cooking better food and say, go and eat food as a way of saying sorry. That's not the way to say sorry. No more taking out and buying something nice. That's not sorry. Sorry goes a long way, and is a form of closure for the child. So the child wants to hear us say sorry. And to me, it builds a lot of, like we've all said, and one major thing that I've taken away from this discussion that just took place is reminded me that our children are not our property. Our children are, according to the way we call them now, they are little humans. They were given to us out of trust. God trusted us enough to give us these children. We're in partnership with these children. Yes, we are the parents, but we can't parent them if we do not know how to parent them right. The same way we will say, you can't love me the way I want to be loved, not the way you want to be loved. And that's the same thing with all this. So we are parenting based of yes, we are a sum total of everything and everyone we have come in contact with, the environment that we grew up in and everything like that. But the major thing is this: we can begin to change the programs that we are running on. The programs that we've had, the things we've seen, the things we know, we can begin to reprogram ourselves. And it's not just from hearing it once. It's not just from hearing somebody say it once. I know we've heard several times, even our children will tell us, you can't say sorry, come on, keep quiet there. We are fast to just shut them up or just walk away as if we didn't hear it, but it's time for us to begin to listen to our children, tell us the things that they need to tell us. Let's hear you, Susan. What other question do you have for us? Whenever it's Susan's turn, I don't know why I'm not comfortable. Susan, oh yeah.
Another question I got was, why do parents get defensive when their child feels down? I put a roof over your head defense is very dismissive and damaging. I feel like I also wanted to add to that, because why don't parents validate their children's opinions when it comes to certain issues? I'll start with Mrs. Osho this time around.
Thank you, Susan. Actually, parents like to be defensive because, number one, they are older than you. And parents feel they have to brag that they are doing you good, which is not supposed to be, that they are doing you a favor, because that was the way we were brought up. My father will tell you, you are living in my house, but it's not supposed to be like that. I also felt like that when I was young. When I heard that statement, I'm like, and so where do you expect me to go? You gave birth to me. You could have just left me alone in heaven. So it's actually a wrong word to use for parents to brag and say, I'm feeding you, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. If we don't feed you, who are we going to feed? It's actually a wrong one. I don't have any excuse. I cannot defend any parent that does that. It's a very wrong word to use. Because if I'm staying with someone, if I'm living with a friend, and every day my friend comes back from work and starts bragging in the house that I'm putting a roof over your head, I'm helping you, I will feel bad. I will even be looking for ways to leave the house. So it's very wrong, parents. It's very wrong if we are doing that. It is very wrong to talk like that to our children, because they are our children, they are our responsibility. We are supposed to provide for them the basic need of shelter, feeding, and clothing. So we are not supposed to brag. Parents are not supposed to brag at all. It's a very bad attitude on behalf of parents that does that. Well, I can't remember if I've done that before, but I know that my father did that to me when I was young as well. And I went into my room and I started crying. And I'm like, where will I now? Where will I go? So one day my father can just wake up and tell me, leave my house, where will I go? But that actually helped me. I'm telling you, it actually helped me. It made me strong. I'm like, well, I was preparing myself that if eventually they throw me out of the house, let me prepare myself. Let me be strong. I faced my studies, even though I was not doing well, but I struggled. So that's my point. I hand over the mic to
Thank you, Ma.
I want to say something. Sorry, I want to say something. But didn't we put the roof over their head? That's number one that I want to ask. Then number two, yes, I want to ask it. Right now, I'm playing the devil's advocate. So really, but didn't we put the roof over their head? And we expect so much, even though I know that the expectation we actually put a lot of expectations we hold our children to very high expectation. And I know that. But then also, there are just some things, some small things that we expect that as children, can you please do your own part? I'm doing my own part. I'm trying my best, in my opinion, to do my own part as in parents' opinion. So why won't you simply do your own best too in the little opinion? So I'm sure that is some of the things that happen that just makes the parent just say, see, you better obey or you get out. Choose where you are. Either you're here and you abide to my law, or you just fall out and go and create your own community. So please, to Mr. Otuke, when you are speaking to this,
can I please say
Okay.
something before Mr.
Okay,
Otuke
please.
comes in?
Go ahead.
We must also realize that they are children. They are not adults. That's the mistake we make. Talking like that to a 10-year-old or 12-year-old, that the mind, the brain is just building up. It's like you are oppressing that child. That's the way I feel about it. Of course, if you want to, I don't think bragging should be part of parenting. Children are not our mates, they are our children. We gave birth to them. So bragging should not be part of parenting at all. I totally disagree with a parent that brags. Thank you.
Susan. So one thing that you have to take away from this meeting is the fact that there is always a positive intention behind every action. I guess you're writing it down, right? There is always a positive intention behind every action. Next, I would say is the proof of your communication is the feedback that you get. Now, that is to the parents, right? You have a positive intention of driving the message home to the child that, hey, wake up. In life, you have to be responsible. Responsibility means taking action, right? In life, everything is about systems. You wake up in the morning, at your age, you are supposed to know how to do this, that. That is an evidence that you are aligning yourself to the reality of what you should have been achieving at the age that you are in. So if you are a 13-year-old and you still need somebody to wake you up from sleep and tell you to go and shower and prepare to get to school early, because if you don't get to school early, you will be late. And when you get to school late, your name will be on the latecomers list. You first of all have to go and face some teachers that will talk to you like, how come? Why are you late? That conversation is going to destabilize you. At the end of the day, by the time you get to your class, you are already unsettled. Whatever they are teaching you, your mind is going to why you did not get to school early, and you will not be able to focus on that class. When you don't focus on that class, you end up missing out the points on that day. If you are able to catch the points on that day and that class is part of the examination that you're going to write in the future, you will miss those points. And instead of you to be scoring 80, 90, you go and score 70. 70 is a good score, but you have the capacity to have scored 90. But because of one event that could have been prevented if you were more responsible for the age that you are in, you missed it all at that point. Those are the kind of messages that are in the heart and mind of the parents that they want to pass across to you. How are they communicating it? There could be a problem in that point. That's where you see that, oh, they are bragging, because that bragging, in their mind, they are not bragging. They are telling you what they have achieved, how they were able to achieve it. For their time as parents, right? It is their duty and responsibility to provide a roof over your head, put money in your account for you to be able to eat, and take care of you generally. So what they are standing in your front to tell you at that point is, I am a responsible parent. I cannot give birth to an irresponsible child. You have to be able to stand up and face your responsibilities. But this is where emotional intelligence has to come in. How are you actually communicating with this child? If you are talking to an adult and you are raking an adult, it will be easier for the adult to understand, because the adult would have seen so many things over the years and understand that level of communication. So you are passing a very good message, but if you pass the message in a wrong way, that message will not be delivered to that child. That's where I think there's a challenge. And thank God, this course already sorts that out because there's a communication queen that will be available next Saturday to drill down and tell you parents on the best way to communicate with your child. The way you communicate with your teenager is different from the way you communicate with your 10-year-old. And it's different from the way you communicate with your 3-year-old. They are all children, but you communicate differently. And it's different from the way you communicate with your 25-year-old who has gone to the university, has seen life in a different perspective, have experienced people all over the world. You don't communicate in the same way. These things, there are skills for you to learn and become better. Positive intention towards the child, good. Your thoughts towards the child, good. If you not use communication to spoil it, what have you achieved? Nothing. Everything has to be harmonized. When there is no harmony, okay, let's take music for example. We have tenor, soprano, alto, whatever, right? Even with the instruments, then the drum have counts. So imagine that the drummer is playing something, the bass guitarist is playing something else, the tenor singers are singing. What will you hear in your ear? To be bad music. So when you have a good message for your child and you are communicating it in a wrong way, it's like bad music to the ear and you won't get the result. So Susan and Damilola, the message to you at that point is be a responsible child. But how they are communicating to you is not the challenge. But thank God, there's a way out. For every problem in this life, there's a solution. Write it down. For every single problem in this life, there is a solution. There's always a way out. There are options. This is one option before you all parents today. Learn how to communicate with your child so that that positive intention that you have towards that child, the child will feel it and receive it, and you will get the desired result. Learn to be emotionally intelligent so that you can actually create the future that you desire for your children, and rather not create something else that you do not desire. I yield my mic at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You did justice to that. Thank you so much. I'm not to say that. Abi Susan, was that okay? Sorry.
Yeah, that was fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Dami, are you here with us? Your question, please. Please, we too, we have questions for you people. But Dami, let's hear you.
Don't worry, you will soon ask us your questions already. So my question now, okay, so jumping into negative conclusions when there's a misunderstanding, that's very key, because a particular issue can come up, and then in most times they will just assume of the worst, like immediately, without even saying, okay, let's sit down and reason that this is this and that is that. Most times it's always jumping into the negative conclusions. Why? Why is that, please? I would prefer Mr. Otuke to first take question.
Before I answer you, Damilola, show your face. Why are you hiding behind the screen? Look at Susan, confident. Let me see who I'm talking to now. Cute boy, you see? I love the way you smile. Okay, so if you've listened from the beginning, this question I've already answered. Let me take you back a bit. Now, everything is about the mind. What's the mindset of that parent at that particular point in time? Some people are termed optimistic. It's their mindset. Some people are termed pessimistic. It's their mindset. And remember that your mindset that you're displaying today is a sum total of everything that has happened to you, from your nurture to your culture, to your environment, to your parenting, how you were parented and everything, right? And remember that you can only give what you have. Even if we also agree that all you know is not all that there is to know. But how many people even realize that all you know is not all that there is to know? How many people even realize that the map that you have is not the territory? A lot of people don't. But I will still say, thank God for people like Coach Wanjoto, who has created a platform like this to connect and bridge the gap. So running into conclusion between husband and wife, between father and son, between mother and daughter, between two female adult friends, between two male friends, between business partners, any scenario of two people having to communicate and one person has run into a conclusion without actually sitting down to listen and analyze is wrong. That's bad communication, basically. So it's not limited to the parent and the child relationship. Is universal. At any point in time that you are in a relationship with somebody or you are in a conversation with somebody and you just speedily run into conclusions, you are already cutting off the lines of communication because you've already formed an opinion without actually having to patiently listen to the other party. So you came to the table with a mindset that you are just displaying based on what you already formed opinion about in your mind. So look at it from that global perspective that is not limited to parenting. It's not limited to the relationship between his father and his son or a mother and a daughter. It's who the person is and the person's mindset and communication style. So parents, you can hear that those things that we used to talk about to ourselves, when I walk up to you in the office as your subordinate, and as I'm standing at the door, before I even want to open my mouth to talk, you've already concluded the matter and dismissed me. That's the same thing that you are carrying to the house now, and you are passing it on your children. See the feedback that they are giving us now that, why? You should at least just listen to me and hear my own perspective before you form an opinion. So let's take note of that in our personal lives. And you children also, don't grow up with those kind of mindset because now you have established it that that mindset is not a very good mindset, especially when it comes to proper communication and conflict resolution. My takeaway is this: be a good communicator. Come to the table with an open mindset. Always listen before you conclude. As a child, as a parent, as an adult, as the managing director, whoever you are. I yield the mic at this point.
Before you yield that mic, sir, there's a question in the chat room for you. So what if the child had set a precedence of doing those wrong things and parents have lost trust in their good judgment? So we've been believing you since, so okay, we've given you the benefit of the doubt, but now we're at the end of the rope right now. So how do we do, or what do we do not to have that negative mindset? Because you've proven over and over again to you've not disappointed the judgment, as in it has happened over and over again. So the question is saying, I've lost trust right now in your good judgment. So what do I do? Am I to change my mindset again to about that?
So I will answer you with a question. What if for this particular one time, the case was different, but you did not just patiently listen and you just flashed it off? And the child has now said, okay, I think at least I made the effort to try to make this right, but maybe they are still judging me based on my past. So let me just leave the past now. After all, nobody will even believe me again. So you see why it's important to, at all times, exercise that patience. We say we love, right? What is love? Love is patience. Love is forbearance. Love is long suffering. Love keeps no records of wrongs, right? So love forgives. And when you forgive, you don't write it somewhere and make reference to it in the future. You are going with the mindset that this is a new person that is coming to me now. So if you carry that old one and say, this one don't fail before, nothing good can come out of this one, you're already passing judgment. And as you wish in your heart towards that child, you are prophesying. And that's the result that you are going to get. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Whatever signals you pass into the universe conspires to bring it to pass. So if you're already forming a mindset that this child is gone, from the past precedents, this child has failed, so this child can never be correct, so shall it be for you. But do you want to see the change? at every point in time, for every case, treat it as that particular case, because you will never really know, especially if you are the parent that you are praying for your child. Every night say, God, change my child. God, change my child. Then you have the evidence you have the chance to confirm whether God has answered your prayer. But you jumped into conclusion again that this is how you always been. What are you now praying? God, change my child. You are also not believing that your child can change. You are sending conflicting signals. And a double-minded man cannot what?
Receive anything from God.
So this question now, what if the child had a set precedence? Forget any precedence, especially when you wish for a change to happen. See and believe that that change is going to happen. And every chance that you have, test your belief, whether that change has already happened. Don't form and close your mind and say, this is what this person has always done. This is what this person will always do. No. Can I yield my mic now?
Yes, you can yield your mic. Thank you very much for that question. Okay, I see a hand up. Ebun, do you want to contribute to that, please?
Yes, I want to contribute to that. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Loud and clear, ma'am.
All right. Welcome. Well done, Umad. It's a beautiful one. So for that question that was asked, that what if the child had set a precedence of doing these wrong things? So I just want to talk from the perspective of understanding how the brain works. For the brain of a child, so for every human being, we have the frontal cortex. And for the brain of the child, for adults, by the time you are 25 and above, your frontal cortex is mature. And so you're able to reason and process information. You're able to be rational in your decision. But for children, toddlers, children, adolescents, teenagers, that frontal cortex is still developing. So most of the time we interact with our children as if they are adults. And so I believe if we're able to understand that, see, they can't reason the way you are reasoning. And that is why when they make mistakes, you keep correcting. And with your consistency of correcting, they are able to also reason eventually. But I want us all to understand as parents that their frontal cortex is not developed. And that's one of the reasons why they can't reason and think like adults think. I hope I've been able to respond to that question. Thank you.
Yes, you are. Then just to buttress what she has said, the prefrontal cortex is responsible for logical reasoning. That's what the prefrontal cortex is for. That's where the logical reasoning takes place. Being able to think things deeply and to decide what should I do, what should I not do. Decision-making center, that's the prefrontal cortex. But most times our adolescence is making logical, in quotes, which is not really logical, but they are depending on the limbic system, which is the seat of their emotions, to make such decisions. So that is why they are running. It's like pressing the accelerator on a car with that does not have brake. That's what the life of a teenager, the life of an adolescent, that's how their life is. You understand? So I understand the perspective that she has brought to this. If we understand that our children, even though, you expect that you are 18, you should know better. You're an adult, you're 20. Why are you making such decisions? She just said something very critical. Till 25. That's why sometimes you see somebody that is 23 acting somewhere, you're like, where your brain dey? Can't you think? No, they can't think because that brain is still developing. So they can't make logical decisions yet. And that's why the major theme for this year's Bridging the Gap that we're going to be looking at next week is emotional intelligence. We are focusing on emotional intelligence. That's why the things you say to your child, most times they interpret it as something else. If you ask a child now, an adolescent, make some faces to that adolescent and say, interpret what I'm showing. Research has shown that they can only understand anger and happy. There's no middle ground for them. So we need to begin to see them in that light and understand them from that perspective. So let's move to Susan. So thank you very much, Chikot, for that question. And for the clap the clap emoji you showed, it means that Mr. Otuke did justice to that. So Mr. Otuke, 1 cup of coffee for you. So yeah, so let's hear who asked that was Dami. So Susan, let's go to you. Please direct your question to Mommy Osho. Let's go.
Okay, this was because I asked, I got opinions and thoughts from my friends of the same age, and this was something that just really came up, and I want us to address it. So it's basically about freedom, and it says restricting your children only cause them to go wild in universities. Can parents be more approachable? Because most times children can talk to their parents because they know the answer is going to be no. So, Mrs. Osho, please could you answer that for me?
Thank you, Susan.
Mm.
If I will answer your question, freedom does not come with age. You might be 20 years old and you are not matured. You might be 25 and you are not matured. And you might be 16 and you are matured. So if they are talking about the freedom age, you say 18 years old. But when you have a child, you know the child is TYC, I know my child. IKC, I know my child. IKMC rather, I know my child. I know that my child is not, she does not have her own mindset. She's come of age, but she does not have her own mindset. There's still some things that needs to be developed in her. She needs to see herself very well. She needs to know where she's going. She needs to have her own self-esteem. She needs to have, I'm talking like I'm talking to a girl child rather. You understand? So for when you're talking of freedom that they are in the university, some people, they get into university and they misbehave. They go the other way because they are not matured enough. It is not because you are in the university. University does not come with maturity. You are in the university and you are matured. No. You can be in secondary school and you are matured. So it is left to each parent to decide, is this child matured enough to take this action? If my daughter calls me now and tells me, Mom, I want to go to a party, I know the kind of person she is. I will say, oh, no problem. But if I know the kind of person she is, I will say, no, don't go. Or if you are going to go with a trusted friend. Maybe one of the friends that I know of, I say, oh, you can go with Susan. I know Susan very well. Susan will guide you when you get there and so on and so forth. So maturity does not, because you are matured, you are 20, maturity does not come with age. As a parent has to be confident that my child is going into the world, and as my child is going into the world, the child will be well behaved. The child will have all the core values of the society. The child will know who she is. So many teenagers now, they don't know who they are. You see people jumping, they will be jumping. Why is that person jumping? You don't know. Why is that person sagging? You don't know. So parents have to actually know that you are matured enough, despite the fact that you are old and you are considered a matured girl. If I'm not fully convinced that if my child should go out, she will not behave well, I will not allow her, or I go with her. Have I answered your question?
So in summary, we're saying, okay, because you are this age, sorry, to me, we should not tell our children that you're not mature. Forget that you're 25.
No, I'm
You're
not
just
saying they're
very
not
stupid.
mature. I know
So what
you.
should we, how should we, because the problem now that she's highlighting is the fact that we keep saying no. We keep saying no to them, things that they expect that by now or at a certain age, they should be allowed to do it. But then we keep saying no, 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 and they've already reserved in their mind that, see, I know that she's going to say no, even though that's not a right approach. But then still, they feel that as they get to a level, I understand the area of the maturity and the age kind of thing, but then they are hoping that the leash we have on them should be loosely used, sorry, we should release it as they grow older. As they grow older, we should allow them to be able to do certain things. But then we've just decided that, well, from what the question that she's saying, of what she's saying right now, is that at what point, when can we get the little freedom? Little, we're not saying we want to go wild, but by the time you keep caging us, when we go to the university, we don't want to come home again. And funny enough, I've had clients that's just it, and by the time the child is telling you that, see, my mother is a pain in my neck. My mother just wants to choke the life out of me. So once I go into the university, I'm not coming home again. I will remain there forever. That's where I want to be, and whether the child will go wild, I don't know, but the child has decided that the child is not coming home again because the home is not conducive. But of course, after we went through the session, things were settled and all of that. But this is the perspective of most children, especially when we keep caging them and not giving them little freedom that they desire. So what do we do about this? Because it's a problem that exists. So what do we want to do about this?
Parents must have, parents want to have a good relationship with their children. They want to maintain that parenting role that I'm protecting you from every harm.
Hold on, Mrs. Osho.
Okay.
So something is just coming to my mind, right? Like I want to play the devil's advocate. So for whatever Mrs. Osho is saying, I want to ask a question. Can we do that?
Yes.
Awesome. So you can start again, but know that I will interject. So go ahead. I'm playing the devil's advocate for the children now.
Is it me or?
Is you now? You're going to answer.
You and I.
You're going to answer, okay. Then he will be poking anything you say. So he's acting as the child right now. So proceed.
Okay. Proceed.
So
you go ahead. You go ahead, Mom Yosho.
Oh, okay. Yes, I want to protect you because you are my child.
How are you doing that?
How am I doing that?
Yeah. Yes. What exactly are you doing to protect me?
You are telling me you want to go out. Where exactly are you going?
Okay, so my friends are having a party and their parents have released them to go set up a party where we just go sit, gist, and have fun. But you are saying you want to protect me. So how are you protecting me by not allowing me to socialize with my friends?
What if you get there and it's a ploy? Probably what they are doing there, it's not a party, it's something else. We have seen cases by.
So from when I was a child, you've always told me how to watch my back, what to do and what not to do in a public place. Don't you think this is a perfect opportunity to test what you have taught me? You should be able to have confidence in me to know that based on all what you've said to me in the past, everything, I keep hearing your voice in my head before I sleep, before I wake up. So this protection that you're talking about, there's no way I can actually know if I am strong enough or I have heard everything you said if I don't go out to test it. So why don't you allow me go for the party such that I will come back and give you feedback on how everything went. You've given me words of advice. You've instilled family values. Our family values are pasted all over the house. As I'm coming out from the house, I see it on the wall. I've read it over and over again. It's inscribed in my heart. You should be able to trust that when I go out there, I will be a good ambassador of this family. You keep keeping me in the house and saying you're protecting me. So how will I even test this protection?
I give you an idea, child, you can go.
Communication. But
I
imagine
give
that I
in
was
my dear
afraid of
child,
my
you can
mom.
go. I'm
Imagine
proud
that I
of
was
you.
afraid of my mom and I cannot talk to my mom. I would just sit down quietly and take it in.
So now we are communicating.
So Susan and Dami, you see what just happened now, right? When
Yeah,
they
Now
say
you
no,
can go, my dear son. I release you.
you need to be able to prove to your mom and your dad that you are big enough, you are responsible, you know what to do. And if you cannot do that, they will not have the comfort and the energy to release you.
Exactly.
Because they don't want you to go out there and come back hot. So you need to be able to show that I got this. Mom, I got this. And it's not just word of mouth too. So in the house, right, when you wake up in the morning and you see that the plates are dirty in the kitchen, what do? Do you wait for somebody to come and tell you to go and clean them up? Or you are walking past and one of your siblings drops something on the floor. You are seeing it clear that this thing is not supposed to be there. And you just walk past it like that. And you will even know that your father or your mother is watching to see what you will do. So the parent will tell the child, pick that thing from the floor. By the time the child has done that several times, you should know that when that thing is on the floor, you should pick it up. The moment you are unable to use your initiative to do that, you are not proving to me that you are matured enough. That means everything I've been telling you, if you go out there, you may not stick to it. So I put it to you, Susan and Dami, and every other child here, that you need to be able to show through communication, through your attitude, through your behavior on a day-to-day basis, that you are matured enough to be able to take care of yourself, because I will not want to let you go into the world unprepared. On my own part, I assure you that I would keep driving the message home for you to know that these are this and this and this that you need to know. This is what you remember that when I was talking now, I said the family values are pasted on the wall all over the house, meaning that there are family values. If the case is that there are no family values, that's another entire different thing, right? So I'm talking from a position of this parent has done what they need to do. They have instilled values in the children. They have communicated in different ways, visually, audio, verbal, whatever way, right? And it is expected that this child has seen. If those ones are not in place, like you have not really parented your child very well, and you want to just scout the child to say, oh, no, this is one, that's your call. Oh. You are the one that will sort that one, because that is not what we are saying here. We are assuming that you have been a very good parent, you've nurtured your child, you've told your child what you need to tell your child, you've shown your child what you need to show your child. You as a parent, when do you come back home? Do you come back home late and you tell your child to go out and come back home early? Because the child is already used to the fact that when you go out, you come back late. So what are you teaching them, right? So how are you nurturing your children? Children, take note. The father and the mother want to protect you, but there are some foundational things that should have been in place for you to know that this is how to protect myself. It is on that premise that you can stand and defend yourself and present your case and win the chance to get your freedom. I yield my mic at this point.
Thank you very much for that. Susan, are you satisfied?
Thank you. Yeah, that was a perfect answer. Maybe next time I'll act out your script. It should work.
Good. Well done. Dami, any other question for us? Or can we ask our own questions to you now?
No, you can go ahead. I've been waiting for this part.
Okay, so let's hear you. Yeah, sure. Let's go. What questions do you have for Susan and for Dami? Mrs. Osho, are you here, please? Is she here? Can I be heard? Okay, then let's have Mr. Otuke.
Yes,
Mr. Otuke. Okay, let's go, Mr. Otuke. Yeah.
So who do I ask now? I can put the question to the two of them, right?
Yes, please.
So from experience, a lot of children, we are talking to them, say, oh no, you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't know. What does that really mean? How do we get to that point where you are certain that we are able to understand you? Teach us.
Over to you. Susan, let's hear you first. Okay, Dami is going. Dami, go.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. So that term from the sentence I just gave, us saying you won't understand, there's probably something going on, and then knowing how things are, as like our generations are quite different. There are things that are going on that you will not be able to understand from where we are coming from. You might understand it from another view that would just seem, it's just probably throw everything off. So us saying you understand, we might even try to explain it from where we are coming from, but it could still be misinterpreted. So mostly after when we say you won't understand, it's just right.
Okay, so Dami, let me take you on, right? I am believing that what you just said is projecting a belief, right? So are you really certain that at all times, for all parents, when you explain yourself, they do not really understand? Do you think that whatever you are going through today is new to the universe and nobody had in the past went through it? Don't you think maybe your communication style is why you cannot really make me understand you? Tell me.
I think from what you just said now, yes, it can also come down to the way it's communicated from the child to the parents, but it's not all that would like truly take it as to how the child wants it to be given. So in order to just not have information given at it and it's being misinterpreted, it will just mostly end with you won't understand, and then the story will just change. But then again, it's like you pointed out, it can be a thing of communication where if properly explained, the parents can end up seeing it from where you're coming from. But then again, that's not the situation all the time.
All right.
It's not every.
Yeah, so I agree with you. So let's agree together now that the takeaway from this question is that parents should learn to open that channel of communication between themselves and their children from a very young age so that they can even understand the communication pattern of the child. One, in case you've not added it, you need to add representational systems so the parents can understand and take tests to analyze the type of children, the representational systems of their children, the learning styles of their children, the communication pattern of their children, such that when you know that, you will know how to communicate better with your child, such that at all times, when this child is saying something to you, you will be able to connect properly and have an understanding. Damn, why I say this is that if two people are talking and they don't have an understanding, there is no way you can get to the point of having a solution, because the first thing is to communicate properly. And when you have established that line of communication over time, it will be easier for you to make me understand your point, because I would have been relating with you. I would have understood how you talk, how you behave, why you do the things that you do. So this whole thing boils down to how do we communicate parents versus children, children versus parents. Are we good at that, Dami?
Yes, yes, we are.
All
Okay.
right.
Sorry, before we take somebody else to speak, Marianne, I hope I pronounced that name right. Please, you can drop your comment also in the comment section. But if you're aware you can speak, if you want to speak, then please do. It's not only parents that have the opportunity to speak here. Please, everybody, if you have questions, anything it is you have, please drop it in the comment section. We'll be
Can I ask
answering it
my
from
own
there.
question?
Okay, we can hear your question, but then let me say something about the understanding too. Even though, yes, I get your perspective, Mr. Otuke, but then also and I know that yes, we might projecting a belief, but also sometimes we also might not be knowing. This is me talking as an adolescent, please. We also might not know what we are going through. We cannot put into words what it is that we are trying to even express to you. So we are trying to express something to you, but we do not even know how to express it. And also because anytime we bring up a certain topic, you go ballistic. Your facial expression, first things first, you just repel us. As in, by the time I just start the talk, you just give me that facial expression that just makes me freeze or just take off, freeze or flight, as in I'm going to go and save my head right about now. So
Yes,
to me,
sure.
in that situation, in that instance now, so what do we say? What do we do? Because that is majorly this. That's why they just tell you, and from what Dami said, they just tell you, see, you can't understand. And then you always don't understand me because you are not listening, you are not taking what it is that I am saying. So please, let's hear you. Okay, Marian is ready to speak. Let's hear Marian. Who is mute?
Good afternoon. It's morning where I am because I don't stay in this thing. I stay in Canada, but I'm here to support my friend Susan. When the question was asked, why do people our age, because I'm 16, around our age group always like say to parents, I don't understand. 2 years ago, I moved to Canada with my mom, and I'm very sure she has heard that like a million times. But I don't say it from a sense that even if I explain, she won't understand. I say it in a sense that she was once a child, but she's not me. She's not in my shoes. My own perspective and her perspective are different. Sometimes when I'm explaining, it's not necessarily for her perspective. It's more of, this is my perspective. I might just need comfort or support. I might not necessarily need advice. And when I put out, I don't understand, I don't mean it in a way that, oh, even when one is trying to put into words, because as myself, because I'm a growing child, sometimes I don't understand myself, why I feel like this, why I'm just sad, or like why things happen. So for me to try and understand it in my own form, because I'm a growing child and I know who my parents are raising, when you put it out to them, it's like, but I've talked to you about this thing before, and after that, this is the way this thing, but my head doesn't work like that. My head works in a different way, and I see things from a different light. So it's more of, I'm not telling my mom to come into the light I'm seeing, but to hear it and just acknowledge it. Then give me your input, but not kind of set it in like place that, oh, this is how it's supposed to be, and it must be like this and this thing. Because I remember when COVID started and we were doing quarantine and online school. I'm still currently doing online school because it's my choice to do online school. When I presented it as a choice, they took it as, I don't want to go to school, I'm lazy, and this thing. But no, I wake up in the morning, I wake up early, I clean my room, I do what I'm supposed to do, I cook, I go to classes all day, I do my assignments after, then I decide to watch Netflix or something, because I know a lot of people my age thrive on structure, and even those that don't, doesn't mean that they're not doing the right thing. Some people do things different ways, but that's how I do things. So when I presented it to them, it was more like, I don't want to bath and go to school. I don't want to fraternize with people. No, that's not it. It's just how I've chosen to learn, because it's like times are very unsafe, and it's because of my logic that she agrees to some things. Yesterday, I got a message at my school. Somebody wanted to stab another person. And obviously fear is striking the heart of my mom that, oh, imagine if I was in school and the person is targeting obviously Black people for one reason or the other, just to be racist. These are the kind of people's children and that we're all living with and we're all going to school with and want to fraternize with. So not everywhere is safe, and it's sad to see you go to school and it's not like that. So it also goes into the I don't understand, because you don't know the kind of people I'm seeing every day. Some of them are just nasty and will do things to you that you would, like, as a parent, you'd be so shocked. You understand? So that's my own, like, when I tell my mom I don't understand, it's because, like, if she's put in my shoes, she'll probably see it from my light. But, like, as long as she's not in my school shoes, there will always be a difference of opinion. And we've learned to kind of live with that. There'll be a difference of opinion in some certain things. But yeah.
Thank you very much, Marian. Thank you. And I like, thanks for being here to support Susan, but then I'm also glad that you're able to share your own opinion. So it boils down to the same thing. So you try to converse in a way that they would understand, like Mr. Otuke had actually said. That's what does justice to it. Olawumi says, you won't understand, sounds dodgy. Really? Our defenses go all out when you say you won't understand. Like, what's doing you that I will not understand? What's wrong? What are we talking about? You know? So immediately our antennas go high and we're beginning to look out for signs and things that, did I miss something? What has she been showing me signs that I was not paying attention to? And we're quick to want to see that. Okay, so it will be a better way to want to try to explain your perspective, and then parents too should help the child explain their perspective by asking them questions. Okay, so asking powerful questions, open questions, helps children explain better. It helps give you details, you know, and just like Mr. Otuke pointed out, the communication, the response you get is the communication you give. So if you ask a child a question and the child says you won't understand, it means you didn't ask the right question. So it is not the child not wanting to give you details. You, the communicator, you did not communicate properly. So you need to learn to ask the right questions that will give you the right answers that you so desire. And these are the things that we're going to be treating next week. So it's not, we can't do that here right now. So next week is the place where we're going to be teaching. Most of these things raised, I'm sure we've heard many times, communication has come up. We've linked everything that has been said so far to communication. So it is a serious issue, it's a serious matter. So even though we think we're conversing, we might not be doing it right and getting it right all the time. So our children are interpreting things differently. So it is necessary that we learn the right way to be able to get the right answers that we want from our children. Thank you very much, Marian. I appreciate you and I appreciate your presence here.
Can I highlight
ask my own
something?
question?
Let me start to say what he wants to say. Sorry, then you ask your question, Mrs. Osho.
So, Marian, thank you so much for commenting. I want to bring out some very key things that you said. Number one, you chose to do online school. Your parents interpreted it as laziness and you just want to hide in the house, you don't want to socialize. But for you, you had your reasons for choosing to stay at home because one, you wanted to be safe. One, you didn't want to have that experience of racism. Another thing is that you were afraid that what if you are targeted, right? So children, that part of your fears of safety, racism, and everything, that should have been the foundation of your communication to your parents. To let them know that this is why I have chosen to exercise the option of schooling from the house. Because sincerely, I don't think I have that capacity and ability to face that. The people out there is not the way you are thinking they are. So my decision to stay at home is for my good and for my safety. We should be able to communicate. I cannot even overemphasize that particular part. I just wanted you to know that I picked out those very key things as your core reason, and they are all valid. Anybody that hears that, this is why I want to school from the house, they won't argue with you. They would rather be thinking, okay, so is there any other way somebody can go out and be protected from these things? That's where the communication will start going to. How else can we do this? But at that particular instance, they will just grab it and say, wow, this is fantastic. This is a very valid point, because you don't want to go out there and put yourself at risk. If there's an option to stay at home and get the same result, approved. So communication is key. Ms. Shosho, over to you, please.
Okay, thank you. My question goes to Susan. Susan, are you there?
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah. How on earth do you think your friends can help you solve major life issues? Did you get my question?
Yeah. Personally, I don't really subscribe to the opinion of friends helping you with major life. And I love that word major that you used, because to be honest, we're all going through something. We're all teenagers. Even everybody wants to go through something, even if you're not going through anything. I want to say that, oh, this one is doing me. But for me, it all goes down to communication and bridging the gap. Like, if I know that I have an approachable parent that I could go up to, like, oh, mommy, see what's going on, can we sit down, can we like have a conversation about it, this is what's happening to me. I'm not going to drift completely to the opinions of my friends. Like, fine, I'll share with them, we're of the same age, we want to know what someone else is thinking, but at the same time, I'll prefer to speak to my parents about it, or someone older. It doesn't even have to be your parents. It could be a trusted elder in church or in the community. But personally, I don't really subscribe to, because I've seen issues where certain friends have gone through certain things. I've told certain people and it didn't just work out in how it was meant to work out. So I'm totally agree with you on that one. I don't believe that friends should to look for advice and make decisions based off their other friends' opinions from major life issues.
Okay, so what advice are we going to give to children each time they keep running? Because I've seen a scenario now. Someone begged and begged, Daddy, can I take your car out? Going out with his friends. Daddy didn't want to, but said, okay, go ahead. Took the car out. After driving, they had an accident. Car bashed. Nobody died, thank God. But then the car got bad. And instead of running to go and meet Popsy, okay, see you, sorry, Daddy, this was what happened. We are sorry, we apologize. Amongst themselves now, they now went to call another friend that know how to pull the dent out of the something. From pulling dent, that's how the whole bumper came off. So from small injury on the car, they have made big injury on the car, and they were still running around trying to find out how to solve the problem instead of going back home to just simply say, okay, this is the issue with it. And this one I'm saying is just little compared to half of the things that I hear on a daily. Is it moving from being pregnant and then not wanting their parents to know, and they are confiding in friends? They try to remove the pregnancy and then the person died. This is real life issues. So there are many things that I've actually seen and heard, both from clients or from friends of clients, that just baffles us so a lot of times, that this happens. Why wouldn't you just simply run and tell somebody? Yes, it might be that our parents are not approachable, maybe, or whatever the case may be. But what advice now are we going to give to children to say, henceforth, please, when there is a major issue, your friends can't help you solve it, run back home to your parents. So please, Dami and Susan, advise children here now. We want to hear you. Tell yourself what you begin to do?
So I'd advise my fellow teenagers to build, I say build relationships with older people around you. So say, for example, your aunties, your uncles, there's always that one auntie that's, okay. So I say you can build a relationship with people older than you so they can like lead you right in situations like that. And for parents as well, because we've already established it in our heads that, see, if I go and tell my mom this, if I go and tell my dad this, they will just make that quick, impulsive decision of, oh, are you mad, or something like that. So I'd say parents should be more receptive and approachable. Like take time, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds to, think of what you're hearing, accept it, assimilate before you just act out, because that alone is another factor that just pushes children away. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much. Okay, so is Dami still with us or has Dami left us? Dami, are you here?
Oh no, I'm here. I was waiting because I want to say something in
Oh, yeah, say
regards
so.
to what Susan said earlier on. I think for my own age bracket. Okay, no, I'll use the example you used in regards to the person that crashed the car. Now, knowing that the dad didn't want to give him before, he knew that obviously there's a reason as to why. And then now the dad finally gave it to him. This is like, him getting some form of trust. And then the one time that they gave it to him, he went to bash it. Obviously, I won't say obviously, but in his mind, that situation was that, my dad might be the last person I would call, like last resort, all that. So him meeting his friends or like anyone to help him out. I mean, yes, he met the wrong person because there are other people that could have helped him out with the situation and he could have gotten it done without even it getting further worse and gotten back home and you'll be fine. But knowing as to how life is going, it's not like it will seem kind of dependent of us that, okay, we'll always like be falling back to our parents for help because as we're growing, we're trying to be more independent because it's not everything that, there's any issue, you run back to mommy or daddy. So in some situations like that, you try and see, okay, how can I deal with this situation so that I know that I can handle like things in life because it's not all the time that you always have to like run back home because if you keep on running back home, then it's like you're grooming yourself not to end up leaving the house. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Okay, thank you. I love your own perspective to that. Okay, so that does justice to that. Thank you very much for that. Any other question we want to throw around that is necessary to be asked?
I want to make a comment on what Dami said. I agree with you. You have to grow up and be responsible and you have to take charge and take action, right? And you don't have to always run back home to say, oh, daddy, I need help or stuff like that. But note that if it is life-threatening, right? If it is life-threatening, please drop all those I want to be a man thing and run back to your father, okay? Or your mother. Because at the end of the day, you are still our child. And no matter what happens, we will always welcome you and sort you out. You can try, but when you get to that point that you know that, man, I have done all I need to do, all I can do, and I know nothing else to do, come back home. You'll always be welcome, okay?
Thank you for that, Mr. Otuki. So any other question? Any questions that I want to ask?
Can I ask a question?
Okay, please go ahead.
As regards the dressing for this generation, we are trying to understand trends because we are from different generation. I wonder why, I don't want to use the word hoodlums. I wonder why they dress the way they dress now. Trying to understand trends that is different from our own generation as regards dressing. Even men now, they wear earrings, they do their hair. Young parents now, they place the hair for their male children and so on and so forth like that. So I want to know why.
Oh yeah.
Is it
Why do
Yeah,
people dress
I'm
the
here.
way you dress?
Yeah, I will take this one because
okay? You
this
can
one
start.
is almost coming direct. So, like you said, we're in a different time now. I'll start with the dressing because I mean we wouldn't like want to be dressing. I won't say there's nothing wrong with how our parents are dressing, but how we dress and how parents dress are different perspectives, different minds. Not everyone has to like look the same. Then in regards to how people do things nowadays, like when it comes to piercings, tattoos, doing their hair, when it comes to that, there are some societies that they don't really find a problem with that. But then parents will say that, oh, that seems wrong. I will use hair for an example because that's almost my own area. There are some workplaces, mostly people say, oh, okay, in white collar jobs, you have to have like the standard look for white collar jobs. Low, low hair, dress, white shirt, tie, black trousers. That's how everything should be. But nowadays, the kind of offices that I go to nowadays, that's not how offices that are being run by like young MDs, CEOs. When I'm talking like people that are less than like 40. The you're free to like dress how you want to be. So far is within like a simple code of conduct with the dressing. But if they want to be expressive as to how they want to look with the tattoos or the piercings or the hair, and the society that they're in accepts them as that, then that should probably just be, because at the end of the day, the child isn't like, I won't say the child isn't dressing for the parents, but they're just trying to be themselves because their parents almost dictating how they dress, how they look is like you just trying to depict them in your own image, not like in your own image, but like you just wanting them to look like how you want them to look like. Meanwhile, you would also want your child to be expressive. So that's my own take on that.
Can I add to what Dami just said? So for me, when it comes to like dressing, fashion, body adornment, tattoo piercing, everything, and anklets as well. We need to talk about that. For me, it's just fashion is a form. I see fashion as a form of self-expression, to be honest, and it's something I subscribe to. But I understand that our parents don't resonate with some of the styles that we wear. Like it's fine because because of the generation we're in and the gap that's there. But as long as it's appropriate and as long as your child is expressing themselves the way they are, then for me that's fine. Because if there's a situation whereby you're not in their vicinity or they're not under your roof, they'll still wear what they want to wear. So I just feel like we should embrace our children's style of dressing because it's just them expressing themselves.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
hear somebody speak before a parent will speak to that too. Esther, you can unmute. Marian, you can type in your question, please, or we will come to you. Hopefully we have time. We have overshot right now. So Esther, can you unmute, please?
Oh, yes, please. Hi everyone. Thank you, Ma. So I don't know, will I say my take on the dressing thing is that I think for our generation, we've come to understand that because a person, maybe a guy braids his hair or wears earrings, or some people have tattoos, doesn't necessarily make them bad people. Yeah, I think that's the difference, because for our parents it's like, oh, if a person dresses like this one has already gone astray. But like Susan has said, it's like a form of expression, and then sometimes you just like it. And then when it's like, for me, for example, I like listening to music and worship gospel as well. So I had a problem at first listening to people that have so many tattoos. I'm like, why do you have so many tattoos and all of that? So I also feel like finding a balance, in as much as we want to express ourselves. I know this is not a biblical this thing, but it's like, if it's something that will cause another person to fall, then don't do it. So if somebody sees you, and then, well, I also guess you should not really care about what other people think as well. But I just feel like, I don't know, if you're a person, like your morals and everything is intact, and then sometimes you may be like, what's wrong in wearing a short skirt as a lady? But then you go on the street and then people are just like, hey, what's up? How are you? And it makes you uncomfortable. There is nothing wrong with it. Then you want to, I don't know if my point is understood, but I would just leave it as the point where we've come to understand that the, like, me dressing as I don't know, me having, as a guy braiding my hair doesn't make me a bad person, something like that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I love the fact that you were able to say, as in you were still able to give caution, even while we are being expressive. We should still, please, we know that when you go out to your own house, you will do as you like. Yeah, you know, that's how somebody said that. Have a bath in the morning. That's the rule. Just bath in the morning. But this person will not have a bath till night. And person saying, see, let me just do and leave your house. But it was an issue with his parents. Say, yes, let me do and leave your house. Parents say, I don't, when you're in your house, if you like, don't have a bath for 10 months. You're in your own house then. But here and now, you obey my rules. And that's what teenagers don't want to hear. I put a roof over your head. So you obey and respect my rules. But I think you should do this in moderation. It actually will help us. And as in, do it gradually. Not one day you just suddenly have tattooed all your body, you have wear earring, you have braided your hair all at once. It will cause heart attack. But by the time it's little by little, hopefully your parents too will understand and begin to see things from your own perspective. But definitely we know that there's the part of religion, there's part of tradition, there's a part of culture that we need to break to be able to express all of that. So Marian had a question. So we're going to just take that and then we'll begin to round this up. We've overshot and we can't answer all questions. There are many more questions that we actually have to answer, but then we won't be able to do that. So Marian's question says, why is it that religion is brought to be used as a form of discipline? So why do we use religion as a form of discipline? Then Jumai, before we answer Marian, Jumai Rufai says, if we allow children to express themselves in the way they dress, they will throw the culture away. Like, why should a man be dressed like a woman? What kind of expression is that, please? So what kind of expression is that? Can we answer to that? But I think we've given it a little bit of a little explaining. And really, it's how do I explain it? You know, sometimes, even though most times our children just wait till they are by themselves and then they express themselves in the way that they want to. And by the time we come and we appear, we see them, we're like, why, what happened and how are you this person? But we can't, sometimes one thing I would love us to do as parents is to try to see things from this perspective. Why? Why is the child wanting to express themselves in this manner? Why? By the time we always want to know the reason behind the behavior, it helps us better. So why are you doing the things that you're doing? Why do you want a tattoo? Why do you want to wear male dresses or female dresses when you're a guy? Why do you want to braid your hair when you are? So we need to know the why so that we know how to embrace or to deal with, do away with, or to replace. Okay, so those are the things, and that's where we come in. Communication is key, because whatever it is that we keep fighting, we're just making the relationship between us and our children we are straining things. And that child just wants to break free and be themselves. So there's a reason behind it. There's a reason behind every behavior. Every behavior is a coping mechanism, we believe. But then I always say also in parenting, every behavior is a form of communication. Our children are trying to tell us something. Everything that they do, whether they're happy, they're sad, in whatever thing that they do, they are trying to say something to us. So it is our duty to listen to what is being said. So you shout, you punish, you flog, you do everything it is that you do. It doesn't bring the result that we intend. And Einstein will say, the definition of stupidity is to keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. You've been shouting since morning till night, you are still shouting. That child has not taken dressing. You've been talking till now, the child has not learned. It means we should change the way we are learning or we are teaching so that that child can learn better. So there is something we need to change as parents, not the child. The child just wants to be expressive. There is something behind. To them now, they might just feel it is wanting to be expressive. You are the one that will help get to the root of that matter. And it is not from a position of, what's that word, antagonizing the child. You must tell me today. Today is the day you will tell me. Why do you want to? No, it's conversational. And when the child's defenses are low, that's the only time that child will be comfortable enough to express themselves and what is really within them, and then be ready to hear. Especially us females, we have an expression for everything. Everything they say to us, you see, what? As in, we need to begin to learn to not show any expression on our faces. It will help your child approach. But when you just hear your name, Kimi, as in you're first of all giving the look, and the child will just back off and not want to even say anything to you. So let's learn to be more open. And the way I practiced this to get to the point that I am today, I'm not saying forget that I coach parents and their adolescents. So we also have the one, that's why we keep learning, we keep reprogramming. Unlearning, relearning is what helps us. But once I hear the voice, mommy, I have programmed it to become a smile. So smile immediately. Once you just hear, mommy, immediately I'm smiling so that I am warm enough to take in whatever it is that you have for me, to embrace in whatever it is that you have to say to me at that point, and so that my facial expression is not pushing you away. So something Ebu says, a culture that is not empowering, why engage in it? What has culture done to us? And yeah, true. Culture and tradition is culture and tradition, religion is the major issue we have in parenting. One of the major issues we have in parenting. So a question says, okay, ask questions, why? Yes, that will truly help us parents, yes. So let's go to Marian's question, then we will wrap it up from there, please. We have overshot. Thank you, I appreciate everybody that is still here. Thank you very much for your time. And please, there's a link in the chat room. Help fill the feedback form. It will help us do better next time. So just help us fill the feedback form that is there. And in case you want to register for next week, the link is also in the chat room. I'll post it again while we are taking Marian's question. Marian, do you want to give more context to your question? Do you want to unmute and give more context to your question so we understand your perspective, please?
Oh, okay. My question, is that when probably you say something or you do something wrong, it comes off as I don't know, but in my experiences, when I'm at my friend's place or something, I've seen a lot of cases where the next thing is, do you know that God is watching you? Would Jesus like this? It's like some people just immediately feel bad, not because she has their parents have brought up God or anything, but just because it's like is more of, it sounds more of, in my opinion, like kind of an attack that you're automatically doing the wrong thing. And maybe in some teenagers, they don't necessarily, so I don't know about all, but some people don't intentionally do the wrong thing. They might just make a mistake. Then the next thing is Jesus is watching you and God is this thing. And because of some heavy accents that some parents put on religion, some children don't respond to it. So it ends up with them not believing in the religion entirely. So it's like, when, that's what I mean by when like you're using religion as a form of discipline, like probably your child went to take extra meats, then God is what you now shouting, we don't God is watching you. If no, if I am not watching you, God is watching, that kind of thing.
Okay, thank you very much for giving context. So parents, do we understand that question? So let's answer, please. Mr. Otuki and Mrs. Osho, then we'll wrap up. So why do we always bring the religion leg each time as a form of discipline?
Okay, Marian, thanks for your question. So, as I mentioned before, what we can pass out is what we know, right? And to the best of our ability, we have been programmed to always remember that whatever we are doing, God is watching us, and we need to be able to live a righteous life to be able to get blessed, right? And that is religion. But you know that religion is extremely different from spirituality. So a lot of people mix it up and think that religion is spirituality. So religion is about the rules, the culture, the regulations, don't do this, don't do that. Why spirituality is about the connection with the divine. Spirituality overrules religion. But the way the world is run today, they project a lot of religion to us and try to condition us to fit into the system to be religious. But as a parent to a child, I will tell you that religion has done more harm than good as it is today. Somebody asked a question, what has culture done for us? What has religion really done for us? As religious as we all appear, there are still a lot of evils happening around. So I will encourage all of us to focus more on spirituality than religion. So Miriam, what is happening at that point is just acting in the best of our abilities. That's what they've taught us. That's what they've conditioned us to believe. That's all that we know. That's why we submit ourselves to trainings like this so that we can get better and be better parents for you. If we didn't want to see a change, if we believed that we were the best, if we believed that there was nothing wrong, we will not be here today to be talking like this. We are only here today because we recognize that there is a gap. And these are some of the gaps that we are trying to learn how to bridge, such that when we are done with courses like this, we become better parents for you all, right? So I also have a comment on the dressing thing. Now, something dropped. Somebody sent a chat to me that, did Samson not keep hair in the Bible, right? And God still used him, right? Because the hair that was what we call dada today, like dreadlocks, right, was where the anointing was. When they took it out, he lost his power. So what could actually be wrong with keeping hair? But like Moa said, the why is always the issue. I will encourage us as parents to actually do have that connection with our children such that we can really communicate better, because if you really ask questions and drill down and understand the perspective of the children, it will be easier for you to try to build and correct rather than staying on the high horse and assuming that you know and you understand, and you will be driving the message in the wrong way and they will never get it. I always tell children, and please take note, all of you in this house today, It is not what you want to become that matters. It is what you become after becoming that which you want to become. Let me give you an example. I want to wear a short skirt and take public transport to my destination. Two scenarios. One, short skirt. Short skirt exposes your legs, right? And you want to take public transport. You're not even in a private car. So it's not the fact that you want to wear a short skirt that matters. But after wearing that short skirt and you are now on your way in a public transport to your destination, what now happens to you? As you're coming down at the bus stop, you miss your step and fall down. What happens? You have exposed yourself unnecessarily, right? And God forbid anything happens along the road, something can easily harm your skin because you are not covered. That is what really matters, not the fact that I want to wear a short skirt to go out. It's not what you want to become that matters, but what you become after becoming that which you want to become. Oh, I want to wear tattoos all over my body. Fine. After you have worn the tattoo, then what? Then what? Why are you doing that? That is what matters most, because at the end of the day, people will always have opinions about you. People will always have perspectives. People will always have diverse things that they think about you. So always remember it, that it is not what you want to become that matters. But after becoming that thing that you want to become, what have you now become? Think about it. I yield my mic at this point. I remain Otukyoyeri, the oxygenator. I oxygenate minds and completely transform lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otuke. Okay, let's take your Olawumi, and that will be the last comment, and we'll wrap it up. Olawumi, you can unmute, please, and let's hear you. Hoping you are in a quiet environment, please.
Hello, thank you. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, clearly, please.
Okay, thank you very much. It's been a lovely session, and I've actually been trying to send that message long before Mr. Otuko responded to Marion, So he actually spoke a lot of my mind. I would just like to add one little thing I've been trying to say also. First to everyone, well, not only Marion, is that religion is the backbone of everything, whether we like it or not. I tell everyone that, see, we go left, right, whichever way. Sometimes we forget it, that it is the backbone of everything, no matter how little it looks, yes? So, and on that aspect, he's been able to define the difference between religion and I would like to put it as a relationship, and then we really have to ask ourselves questions. Why are we doing it? Samson had dreads. In Yoruba culture, some people men plait their hair and they wear earrings. I happen to know that. So it's not all bad in itself. It's the why that matters. Then I'll also like to say to the young children, I always like to ask that, do you realize that even as parents, we have our own challenges too in our parenting work? So never think it's so easy for us. We don't come across as we have all the answers. No, I don't think any parent would do that. And even if any parent did do that, well, maybe out of anxiety to try and communicate, to try and see their child do well. But trust me when I say we have our own challenges too in our parenting work. So it will help if that communication, which is what we're trying to do here, gap is really bridged, by us having such sessions and breaking everything down. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thanks for your contribution. And it's well recognized. So we're going to be wrapping up, but then the link, please, we need your feedback so that next year we can do better. So the link for the feedback is in the chat room. And also for if you want to be in next week's session, which is the major masterclass, everything we've raised here, the questions also that we've gathered that we're not able to take care of here, we're going to be doing that next week. And then in July/August, we have an event for our teenagers. So next week is for parents strictly, but July/August, when they're on holiday, we're going to be having our summer, what's it called? Summer is usually, it used to be a summer camp, but now we're not doing a camp. Last year we didn't do a camp, this year to no camp. So we're going to do it virtually, but we tagged it equipping your child, where they're going to be learning different life skills. So there are 11 modules in all, but you can choose whichever module it is that you like. I'll be sending it all out in our emails later on. So you opt for, if you are interested in your child learning any of those skills. But for next week is for us parents. So we have various seasoned speakers that are going to be coming to teach and educate us, for us to learn everything it is that we're supposed to learn. So here we have listened. Yes, we might have some takeaways from here, but next week is the major educational session. So please click on the link in the chat room and beg for your feedback. Please do give us a feedback so that we can do better. Then sign up or register for the major event. So we're going to go round everybody, your closing remark, and how can we find you? How can we connect with you? So we're going to take everybody going around. So let's hear you. We'll go with Dami, then we'll go with Susan, we go with Mrs. Osho, then we'll go with Otuke, Mr. Otuke. You know, I appreciate all of you, you know that, right? Thanks a lot for being here. So let's go with you, Dami.
Okay, closing remark. Well, I mean, yes, this was a very interesting session. I had fun because this is like something that we will really like get to the opportunity to do a lot or anytime, to be very honest. So yes, thank you so much for having me. I hope I lived up to expectations, you know, boss. But then, yes, you can find me on Instagram, damlola.adaji. That's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll go with Susan.
Thank you for having me. It was really an insightful one. I'm just grateful for this platform to be able to communicate and express our opinions between each other. You can find me on Instagram and Snapchat as Susan Ogunaya. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Osho, let's hear you, please.
Thank you, Coach Nwadito. I really learned a lot today, even though I was one of the panelists. What I can take out of here is communication between the parents and the teenagers. It is very key and very crucial. So I hope to join your next week session, and I hope to learn a lot as well. Although my last child was 19, I don't have a teenage child again. So at least let me learn so that I can impact other children. So my Instagram page is Bolanle Osho, Bolanle_Osho. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thanks a lot. The oxygenator.
Which one? Okay, so thank you for the opportunity to have been here. Thank you for creating this platform for knowledge sharing and taking lessons away. God bless you. So in closing, I will just say, let us always remember, for every cause, there's an effect. Whatever you do, every action that you take will always result to something. So always ask yourself, what do I want to achieve at the end of the day? What actions do I need to take that will feed into the things that will result into that end goal that I truly desire? Are these actions that I'm about to take, will they really lead me there? Because whether you like it or not, if you take those actions, it will land you somewhere. So always have that at the back of your mind that for every cause, there's an effect, and for every effect, there is a cause. I am Otukuyeri. I am the oxygenator. I am still, and will always be in the business of oxygenating minds and completely transforming lives. You can find me on Instagram. I am Otukuyeri. LinkedIn, Otukuyeri. Facebook, Otukuyeri. Thank you, and remain blessed.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks a lot. I appreciate all of you. This was a very insightful one. Thank you very much. Please kindly click on the links now that are there. Just click on all of them to open them up, because once we close this room, you might not have them again, but I'm going to send them again as an email to every one of us that attended. So thank you so much. I appreciate every one of us that have been here from the beginning till now. You're still here to the end, even though we overshot by how many hours now? Almost an hour. So thank you very much. But then I hope it was as insightful as it was for all of you as it was for me. So thanks a lot for being here. And to my panelists, I am honored and I totally appreciate you. Mrs. Osho, Mr. Otsuke, Susan, and Dami. Thank you so much for being here. So to that effect, we're going to be closing this room. Thank you for all your feedback. Please click on the links. Let's click on the links, please. So to that effect, we'll be closing down the room. So see you all next week, hopefully. To the parents, see you all next week, and to the children, see you in July/August. So bye-bye, everybody. Thank you very much.